It's funny when you know you're being videotaped. Certain things fly out of your head, so maybe we'll cut that part out. Look back on the dreams that you dream and how they came true. Chances are it couldn't have happened completely by you. Today I want to talk about you will do amazing things. Now when you hear that, you might be a little bit like me, because I think we're all more alike than we are different. I hear, you'll do amazing things, and I go, really? Okay. Sometimes just getting out of bed is an amazing thing, all right? Yeah, so you've already done an amazing thing today. Congratulations. Last week we spoke about having services for what doesn't work for you anymore. Did anybody have a service for letting go of? I did. Thank you, Todd and Chris. You know, I teach voice, and I realized that I can't ask my students to do something I'm not doing. So I stopped recommending that they do sit-ups, a lot of sit-ups. But I thought, well, it helps. It helps strengthen the diaphragm. So sit-ups, okay. If I'm going to teach it, I'm going to do it. And it reminds me of a story that a woman came to see Gandhi, and her son was pre-diabetic, and he was eating sugar, and she couldn't get him to stop. So she said, so she traveled. It took her about 2 weeks to get to where Gandhi was, and by train, and she gets an audience with Gandhi, and she's with her son, and she says, Guruji, tell my son to stop eating sugar. It's really not good for him. And Gandhi said, come back in 2 weeks. And she said, just tell him. We're right here. It took me so long. Come back in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, she came back, and she gets an audience with Gandhi, and she says, Guruji, now tell my son to stop eating sugar. And Gandhi looked at her son and said, stop eating sugar. And she said, why couldn't you tell him that 2 weeks ago? He said, madam, 2 weeks ago I was eating sugar. So I love that about the gurus, that they are practicing what they preach. So I did have a little ceremony for shame and fear, and a couple other things that it was time to let go of them. And I got some stones, and I wrote those things on the stones, and I took a walk down to Lake Michigan. It was a lovely, beautiful day, gorgeous day, and found this great spot. Because in case I want to go back to the cemetery where I'm, burying these things, and just for a visit to say, I miss you, Shane. You were always really good for keeping me small and out of the game. So, and I miss that. Because my shortcomings become like little, what I call bingies. It's kind of delicious. This resentment is, until it's not delicious anymore, and that's not a good day. Am I right? When the things that keep us out of the game are kind of like a broken wand, oh, this used to work, and it doesn't work anymore. It's a bad day for the ego, but it's a great day for the soul. So I had a wonderful experience, and I listened to some classical music, not as sad as I had recommended, but still inspiring. And then I just took a nice walk home, and it was a good funeral. So today I want to talk about what do we replace those hidden things with that are now gone. And so I want to talk about visions versus dreams or goals. When I hear the word goal, I go right to my head. Gotta have a goal. Okay, what's my goal? Okay. And that's too much, I think, too much thinking now. I think that's all had and I'm not really in my heart or in divine mind. I'm just in, the monkey mind of figure it out. Whenever I say I got to figure this out, my higher power is nowhere near me because it becomes me. I've got to figure this out. I don't have to figure anything out, and we'll do a process. What I wanted to talk about was, did you ever have a dream or a vision that came true in a very unusual way? This is the story of when I think of this manifestation, it still freaks me out a little bit that it happened. When I was 17, I grew up out in Crystal Lake, not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. When I was growing up, when I was a kid. But when I was 17, I ran away from home with my mother's permission. And on a good day, it was her permission. On a bad day, it was her encouragement. I was rather precocious, and I loved to sing and perform and write songs. And I had won a radio contest when I was 14 called the WLS in Chicago Big Break Radio Contest. And I won first prize. And one of the prizes was a record deal with Mercury Records. And so I made my first record when I was 14. It was a 45. 45s were these, for those of you. Mercury released me instead of the record. But it was a great experience, and I met some wonderful people that I stayed in touch with. And I would go down, I would leave high school and drive down to the city and see my friend Bobby Monaco, who had produced the record, and playing my new songs. I was writing songs, and he would encourage me. And one day, a couple years later, he called me and he said, "Hey, we're moving the company, the production company, to Los Angeles. Maybe you could come out and live with me and Patty and the kids, and I could get your record deal." And I was like, "Okay, let me check with my mom. I can go." So I moved to California, and it was quite a bit different from Crystal Lake, Los Angeles, California. And I got a record deal about 6 months later. And that was incredible. And I signed my record contract at the kitchen table in this little house, and no attorney, no nothing. Oh golly, I feel like I just came to town with the egg money. I would be a recording artist. And so the record company and the management company sent me out on tour to promote my first LP. See, I was graduating, 45 LP, and one of the stops was a club in Denver, Colorado, called Ebbets Field, and I was traveling with my sister Brenna, and a friend of ours was going to school in Boulder. Came to pick us up at our hotel and show us around Boulder and took us up to Red Rocks Park. I don't know if any of you have been to Red Rocks Park. It's amazing. And it's a beautiful amphitheater, and during the day, when you visit Red Rocks Park, the stage, of course, is closed off, but you can stand on the edge of the stage and look out. So I climbed up there in my bell-bottoms and cowboy boots, and I turned around, and I was overwhelmed by the sheer beauty and awe of it. And this wish flew out of my heart. I'd love to sing here one day. Well, fast forward, and then one of the stops was, on the tour, was a club in Washington, D.C. called the Cellar Door. And John Denver was in the audience one night, and I was like, wow. I had seen him at the Troubadour, and I was a big fan. And we got to, everybody, all the musicians got to talking, and we all went out for a bite to eat after the show, and John Denver looks across the table at me and says, "Hey, shouldn't you be in school?" I thought that was such a lovely, concerning thing, you know. There's a concerned grown-up, actually. No, I finished early. And so I didn't think much of it and went home for Christmas with my first LP and played it for my family, and it was really an incredible time. So my manager called me from Los Angeles and said, hey, are you sitting down? And I said, yeah. He said, you're going on tour. And I said, oh, awesome. He said, you're going on tour with John Denver. Oh, okay, cool. And so I was ecstatic, and we did some colleges, and then came the big venue tour. And I was really surprised when I looked at the itinerary. And the first big venue that we were going to play was Red Rocks Park. And so, wow. Okay, here is my wish. And I remember going on stage at Red Rocks. It was a beautiful night, doing my set. And then I came off stage, and John and his two musicians went on. And on their first chord of Eagle and the Hawk, a shooting star arced over the stage. And I was like, okay. It was like completely magical. I wish I could tell you that the year and a half, or almost 2 years that I toured with those guys was perfect. That it was blissful and there was no problem. And that's just not real life. But in that moment was really the affirmation that thoughts are things, wishes that you don't even know you wished, but are in there. I always love when somebody is being interviewed as a celebrity or an actor, or, you know, and they say, gosh, I don't know how this happened. I do. Somewhere, somehow, sometime, even if it was the size, if the size of a mustard seed, somehow it was in there. The Beatles, how did the Beatles happen? Their years in Germany, slugging it out of the cavern. You know, they put in their 10,000 hours. I think putting in your 10,000 hours plus having the vision, having the dream, and holding it, and when you can't hold it, you come to a chaplain, a prayer chaplain, and you say, I can't hold this. Could you hold this for me? And they're happy to do it. Unity was built on prayer. Unity was built on prayer. So in your bulletins, you have some questions, some visioning questions. And again, we hear visioning, and it might sound a little woo-woo. It might sound a little vague, which is kind of good. Because if we say goal, or what do I want, I don't like that question. Because that question for me is all about head. It's all about, I gotta think about what I want. What do I want? What do I want? Most times what I want is always gonna change. It's always gonna morph, and I don't know what I want. What would make me happy? Maybe that's the question to ask. And listen, the universe, I love Mary Mann Morrissey when she says, you know, the universe wants more interesting questions. So not what do I want, but instead, how could I be of service to my neighbor who seems overwhelmed with, you know, with something, and how can I be of help? How could I get an extra $1,000 into my checking account a month? The universe goes, oh, would you like to know how? Okay, we have interesting ways of showing you, of getting your answer to you. So let us think about the need for letting go here. Again, visioning is about surrender. Surrendering to another answer. One that you don't already have. I remember an opportunity to write with a really great songwriter, J.D. Martin. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go to this writing session with an idea, with a song already. Because I don't want to show up and not have anything, right? And so I showed up for the writing session and told JD, here's an idea I have, and because he's been doing this a long time and is also, he and his wife Jan Garrett are fantastic songwriters and music ministers. He said, well, that's great, but let's just talk about what's going on now, and in other words, let's just see what emerges now. Let's put aside everything we think we know. That's the set-aside prayer. God, help me set aside everything I think I know about, you fill in the blank, so I can have a new experience. So I'm going to ask, while I'm asking these questions, to just set aside everything you think you know about your vision, or what you want to do, or what you want, and surrender to perhaps another thing coming up that might surprise you. It's kind of cool. So before we go into the questions, I'll just pray us in here, knowing that divine order is present. Wonder is present. As we dive deep, coming from the heart, and we let it in. We let a vision in. We don't have to control this. We don't have to push the river. We can just let go and see and trust what comes forward. Thank you, God. The first question is, what is God's highest vision for my life, my career, my retirement, my relationship? What is God's highest vision for my year? Fill in the blank. It could be a color, it could be a feeling. It has many ways of getting the message. The message has many interesting ways of coming through. What is God's highest vision? And if you don't get an answer or a feeling, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just breathe into it. Maybe later today, maybe later this week, it will bubble up when you're driving. Second question. What are the God qualities I want present in this vision and in this situation? The God qualities of love, light, wisdom, grace, strength, imagination. That's the one I pray for. Andrew, imagination. Help me imagine how wonderful it could be. And give me the courage to even want a bigger vision. Give me the courage. It takes courage to have a desire. Desire means of the sire, of the Father. These things don't come to me just airy-fairy. There's something behind Number 3, what must I release in order to have this vision come to fruition? I loved having the little ritual down by the lake because I was raised Catholic, and I love ritual. I love all of it. Mass was my first theater experience. Ah, beautiful. Smells and bells. It's beautiful. What must I release in order to have this vision? Resentment. Sadness. The past. What must I release? The next question is, what must I embrace? What must I embrace in order to have this vision? What must I embrace? Self-love, forgiveness. And the last question I love is there anything else? Is there anything else? Beautiful. So, during the week, I'm affirming that more will be revealed, more will probably come up. That's cool. But again, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything you can't really. It's like when you're singing. My first voice teacher, I had lost my voice, and I had nodes, which are these little calluses on your vocal cords. And I sought the advice of a singing teacher, and Dr. Harvey Ringo. I'll never forget. He was a great guy. He was about 4 years older than water, and smoked cigars, a little tie clip. But he gave me in my first lesson. He taught me gave me the best advice for my life was because I was singing incorrectly because I wasn't breathing and because I was pushing. And that was so my personality at the time. Push, 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 He said, you can't make it happen. You have to let it happen. You can't make the sound happen. You can't control it. You have to allow it. You have to breathe, you have to relax, you have to settle down and just sing. That was really hard because I think we're trained from a very early age to make it happen. By golly, get in the game, get in, work, So this is going to be counterintuitive, you guys. This will be pretty counterintuitive. But again, just ease into it. No hard and fast. There are no musts. This was created by a Reverend Doctor. I love that, Reverend Doctor, not a lazy person. Reverend Doctor Michael Beckwith in California. Really a brilliant guy. He has created these visioning questions. So there is a prayer treatment at the bottom of the page that I will be holding for you this week, knowing that your vision is already complete. It's already here, and that's a very good thing. I do want to close with a quote. Does anybody here listen to Krista Tippett on Sunday mornings or Wednesday evenings? Oh my gosh, I love Krista Tippett, right? She has the best, most effervescent, but serene voices I've ever heard. She's, you know, she always sounds like she just finished a nice, refreshing 7-Up. She's spiritually light. I love that. But she was interviewing one of my favorite poets and philosophers, David Whyte. I think it was last week. And I love, in his poem, sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn anyone and anything that does not bring you alive is too small for you. So this week, let's take it in. This is the year, for me, I'm like, this is the year of the plan, of taking it in. I think last week I mentioned this great car. Obviously, I'm way into cars. I'm a Midwestern kid. What can I say? But I saw a beautiful car, and the license plate said, "Take it in." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And I don't think they meant the car. Take it in. So this is the year of taking it in and having a plan, but holding it like a bird. You wouldn't want to hold a bird so tightly that you would harm it. But you don't want to hold it so loosely that it would fly away. There's that middle path, there's that middle way. So as I'm singing my closing song, I want you to just think about the vision as just something that is going to be coming to you. You don't have to have it, it doesn't have to be written in stone, doesn't have to come to you all at once. But I think I'm going to just lighten up. The 11th commandment, thou shalt lighten up. I'm just going to lighten up about the vision, about the goal, and just let go of the results. We can plan plans, just not results. So I'm going to do amazing. That's great. Tyler's eager to play. We have another song. Yeah, it's just all songs all day.
With the choice each new day brings, and with every breath you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is found in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do amazing things. You will do amazing things. All the places you will go,
As we settle in for a brief meditation, we empty our minds, our hands, and our hearts of any concern. We raise our shoulders to our earlobes and then release. Maybe the jaw also. Taking in a breath, letting it out with a sigh. One more time. Knowing that all concern we can leave outside the door as we enter the quiet room and practice the presence of the one and only power.
Come to you without my list of all life's knots I can't untwist, but just to be here in your midst is all I really need. And to sit here quietly loving you, you loving me in the silence, in the peace, is all I need to be.
Come to you without my list of all life's knots I can't untwist, but just to be here in your midst is all I'll ever need. And to sit here quietly, loving you, you loving me, in the silence, in the peace, is all I'll ever need. So, in the trust of this moment, that you are supported, loved, guided, and filled with the light of love, we enter the silence in trust and peace.
come to you without my list of all life's knots I can't untwist. But just to be here in your midst is all I really need. And to sit here quietly, loving you, you loving me, in the silence, in peace, is all I really need.
Suggest just putting your hand on your power center, your throat chakra, to just kind of ground it. Our affirmation. We know that divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.